They say that your home is your castle, and the thought of selling and downsizing in retirement won't appeal to many. Your forever home can be very hard to part with, especially if there's lots of memories and lots of wealth that's been built inside your home. But the problem with having lots of wealth tied up in property is that this wealth could potentially be lost in the future to things like care fees and inheritance tax. So in this video, I'm going to explore some of the reasons for and against whether we should be downsizing our home in retirement. My name's Carl Roberts. I'm a chartered regulated financial advisor. So let's look at some of the problems with owning and living in a larger house in retirement. Now, your property in your home is likely to be one of, if not the largest assets you have in retirement. And property has been a great way to build wealth over the last 60 years in particular. In the 1960s, the average house price was £2,530, which is around £62,084 in today's money. Now, if we look at the end of December 2022, the average house price was £294,329. So it can be reassuring to feel your money is safe in property, and there is something tangible you can pass on to your loved ones. Now, there is no question on the financial benefits of owning property, but there are a number of problems with owning a larger house in retirement. So let's explore some of these. Number one, a larger property means more maintenance costs. Homes need constant maintenance, repairs, updates, renovation, and this all comes at significant costs, both financially and in terms of the time you need to spend. And this is a period, if you're doing this in retirement, this is a period where you're unlikely to have new money coming in to your retirement savings. This is the period where you're going to be drawing down on them. And forecasting the costs you might have to spend on maintenance can be difficult. So it can be worrying when these costs come along. And all the while, the money and the time you need to spend on these maintenance is time you can't spend enjoying yourself in retirement. Number two, security. The bigger the house, the bigger the security risk. Older people will be seen as more vulnerable and are often targeted more by criminals, particularly for scams and burglaries. This means putting certain security measures in place, covering larger areas with cameras and alarms, all at significant costs again in retirement. Number three, cash will be tied up in your property. So the larger the house, the more cash you have tied up in your property that you can't use for other things. So in retirement, if there's a big spend you want to do, perhaps a really big holiday, or even gifting money to your children, you can't just sell a few bricks to release that cash. The only way you're going to be able to get cash out of your property if you don't sell it is for a product like equity release. So this also means you don't get to see your loved ones using the money that you plan to leave behind. It's all going to be tied up in your property, and the only time your loved ones are going to get it is on your death, probably when that property is going to be sold anyway. Number four, the big one. The bigger the property, the more inheritance tax your loved ones may have to pay. So not only will there be more inheritance tax just purely because of the size of your property, if you add the value of your property together with your other savings and investments, if this figure is over 2 million, you could find that your inheritance tax allowances are cut, and ultimately more inheritance tax is paid overall. And this is money that could be saved and left to your loved ones. So let's clarify and summarize why it might be a good idea for some people to actually downsize their property, their home in retirement. So selling a larger house and buying a smaller house is going to be beneficial mainly in two ways: physical benefits and financial benefits. Now, living in a smaller house, as well as requiring less maintenance, it will make things much easier for you as you enter the later stages of your life and when you need to be cared for. Moving around and being cared for in a smaller house is going to be easier. It also means less bills, a reduction in your bills, which could in mean more disposable income is available for you to enjoy yourself in retirement. And also, if you think about it, it could mean you could afford to spend more from your retirement savings in the early years of retirement, safe in the knowledge that if you do plan to downsize, you're going to release further cash for your later years of life and your bills are going to be smaller. So the big saving with downsizing in retirement is going to be in the form of paying less inheritance tax and potential care fees. Money released from a larger property can not only be gifted whilst you're still alive, and therefore you can see your loved ones enjoying the money you gift to them, but you could also use the money that you release and invest it in a certain way to avoid inheritance tax and care fees in the future. And this can all be done legitimately with certain types of investments. So remember, you're not trying to avoid inheritance tax and care fees for the sake of it. You're doing this because you want to leave more wealth to your loved ones. You'd rather your loved ones had your wealth rather than the tax office or the local authority. So for some, departing with the family home is just going to be too much. There's an emotional attachment to it, and I get that. But if you think about it logically and you want to structure your finances in a certain way, downsizing could be an ideal way to release cash in retirement with lots of benefits. Now, I hope you found this video useful. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There should be a button appearing soon. We have many more videos to come, and there's a back catalogue of videos, all different retirement subjects. So if you just search for our YouTube channel, I'm sure you'll find the answer to some of your financial questions.